Couple things to consider is in most of the Appalachian Trail, the farthest someone has to go without resupply place, like a gas station or a town or, some place to buy food and wares, right? Maybe 2 or 3 days, right? Most of the Appalachian Trail is not as remote or too remote to not be able to have a road that connects in or get a drop off or leave a box or hit a hostel or something like that, right? This is the longest, most unsupported section of the Appalachian Trail, that 100-mile wilderness section. And so, we had been told to plan for 10 days, right? And so over that time frame, things get pretty complicated because that's a lot of food to have to bring, and food adds up. So the rule of thumb is 1.5 to 2 pounds of food per day per person that you expect. So if we're planning for 10 days, we got like 15 to 20 pounds worth of food.
Per person,
Per
right?
person, yeah.
Yeah.
So, which is going to be carried on our backs. One of my good buddies is a former Army Ranger, right? Maybe still Army Ranger. I don't know whether that's like the Marines, like once a Marine, always a Marine, but was in for a long time. He's in his late 40s now and is a savage, man. Just like total preparedness, right? Like I told him that I was going to do this trip, and he said, "Oh man, you're going to be in the Maine mountains in October. I'm going to send you some rope just in case there's a whiteout on the mountain, so you can tie it around your waist, call me, and I'll show you how to do it," right? And he was sending me all this, like, buy this for your kid and do that for this, right? So I had some help, right? But he told me the following phrase, which I didn't listen to completely, though I adopted a lot of it. Ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain. And it is super accurate. Ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain.
Ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain.
Correct. So meaning the heavier your pack, the harder it's going to be. So to prepare for this, like we had to buy a pack. We had to buy a pack big enough for 10 days worth of shit. So I had a 55-liter bag and Ruslana had a 70-liter bag. And we spent a lot of time researching what bag to get, or at least I did, for us. This section is known for being pretty wet and rainy. And so we really needed to take a couple things into consideration. We had to take into consideration cold from being wet and cold from it just being cold. So we had to really pack for 4 seasons, right? Or really, a spring weather, fall weather, and winter weather, So the pack had to be big enough, right? The pack had to be big enough. And so we ended up settling on a hyperlight mountain wear pack, which is a waterproof pack, pretty pricey, but it's going to be the backpack I have for the next, hopefully 30 fucking years. Right? And
yeah, it's an investment.
Dude, no doubt. All of this shit was in the best possible way. But we made a gear list, man. We made a gear list of the stuff we had to have and stuff that would be like nice to have, and just started buying it, started like looking it up, started researching it. Like I had already had a sleeping bag, but I had done that research on a sleeping bag the year prior for the trip that you and I, had shared a campsite on. And so I had a good 20-degree bag. And so I knew, Ruslana, hey, buy this bag. It's a Nemo Forte. It's great, and so here you go. And so cool, check. But the gear list is pretty long and substantial, and all those things added up, and so we were always thinking about weather, we were thinking about cold, we were thinking about weight, is this tent 4 pounds or is it, 2 3/4, right? That's a huge difference over time. And so that was the place we started. It's like necessity. What do we need? What do we need for survival? What would be great to have? And how can we cut weight? How can we buy this thing or get this thing at the lowest weight with the highest effectiveness?
Yeah, it's such a direct opposition to how people are used to thinking most of the time, where if you go on a trip, and I do this too, I tend to overpack completely rather than leave something and think, okay, if I don't have this pair of jeans or this shirt, the world's not going to end. But I'm always trying to... I'll basically pack for the size of my suitcase and not for the size of the trip. So if I have a suitcase with extra room, I'll just keep filling it and filling it and filling it. And I think this is fine because I'm going to take this on a plane, or I'm going to put this in my car. And then I get to the actual place and I use 30% of what I was wearing or of what I packed for that week. And for some reason, I think whenever I go to a place, whether it's California, Colombia, New York, even just visiting my parents, I always think I'm going to wear something completely different every single day. Even though I wear the same shorts and pants for a week straight in Brooklyn, I'm just like, these are not dirty. So I'm just going to, I'm not seeing the same people again today. So I'm just going to wear these pants again. And for some reason I think, okay, I need to have the perfect outfit for morning, afternoon, and night every time I go to travel. And I've done kind of a very dumbed down basic version of the 10-day hike, which is just packing for a day or maybe like 36 hours at a time. But I've never done the 10-day hike. So I imagine I imagine you think differently now about how you pack things and how important things really are on a survival versus want basis, where if you're
100%.
packing something, I think everything is survival when I'm packing for a trip to Vegas. I'm just like, I cannot survive without this button down shirt from Kasubi. I'm gonna drop dead if I don't wear this on Saturday night. And you go on a 10-day trip, and I'm sure everything gets reframed where you can kind of let go, or if you don't let go immediately, you kind of learn to let go and accept that this is all I actually need.
Yeah, you learn a lot about what you actually put your hands on a given day, right? And the longer people are on this trail, not only does everything in your bag have to be used daily in order for it to basically make it in your bag and stay in your bag, you need to have multiple uses for things in an ideal scenario. There are tents that are made from someone's trekking poles, as opposed to bringing the frame of the tent, which weighs a pound, right? You use your trekking pole, and that holds up the tent, and then, et cetera. And so there's a lot of ways people do or cut weight. The point you made about it really highlighting what's important is huge. That's the whole reason why, or the whole biggest thing I got out of this trip was water, food, where are we putting the campsite, how long do we have to walk, what's the weather. Like, it really boils it down to simplistic stuff. When are we eating, what are we eating, let's set up our tent. Like, that was the day, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.